Jai Sripati Karshi Shri Guru Gaurachandra Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Paribhajakacharya Stotar Sata Sri Sriman Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Paribhajakacharya Stotar Sata Sri Sriman Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Dandavat. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mission Morning Class. Haribo. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jita Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Savetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunnitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Haribo. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, Chapter 4, continuing to read. This is Sanatana Goswami's Visiting the Lord. Very beautiful lessons here about the divine form of the Vaishnava. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Jai Srila Sanatana Goswami Ki Jai. Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnupadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. I was listening to a class this morning. I was just a talk. Anyway, maybe I should tell you about that later. But it was when Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj went to the Chandradhari Mandir in Mayapur during the inauguration of the temple, invited by Srila Prabhupada. I'll tell it after the class. But it was very, very funny and sweet. I was there actually in that talk, and it was very quite wonderful. But we'll read Chaitanya Charitamrita first. Text 195. Sanatanera dehe Krishna kandu upad. Excuse me. Upajanya amaparikshite ihadila patanya. Krishna somehow or other manifested those itching sores on the body of Sanatana Goswami and sent him here to test me. Girnakari alinganana karitama jabe Krishna tai aparada danda paitama tabe. If I had hated Sanatana Goswami and had not embraced him, I would certainly have been chastised for offenses to Krishna. Parishada deha e nahaya durganda pratama divashe pailum chatushama ganda. Sanatana Goswami is one of the associates of Krishna. There could not be any bad odor from his body. On the first day I embraced him, I smelt the aroma of the chatusham, a mixture of sandalwood pulp, camphor, aguru, and musk. Oh, and then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada tells how to make this chatusham. 2 parts of musk, 4 parts of sandalwood, 3 parts of aguru or saffron, and 1 part of camphor. When mixed together, form chatusham. So who can see real truth? His perception of things is very different from those who are engaged in the interactions of the shadow world. So this is very different, and so Mahaprabhu is completely, of course, supremely not seeing the body of Sanatana Goswami from any kind of mundane point of view or for any of his senses. He's always seeing the transcendental fact. Vastuta Prabhu Jabe Kaila Alingana Tarasparshe Gandhaila Chandanera Sama. In fact, however, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced the body of Sanatana Goswami, by the Lord's touch alone, there was manifest a fragrance exactly like that of sandalwood pulp. Prabhu kahe Sanatanana maniha dukkha tomara alingane ami pai vadadukkha. Yeah, he's the cause. He's the cause of all of this. He's the cause of everything, and everything exists to serve him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, my dear Sanatan, do not be aggrieved, for when I embrace you, I actually get very great pleasure. E vatsara tumi iha raha amasane, vatsara rahi tomare ami pai pataimu vrindavane. Stay with me at Jagannath Puri for 1 year, and after that I shall send you to Vrindavan. Atabali punatare kaila alingana kandugela angana hailas savernera sama. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again embraced Sanatana Goswami. Thus immediately Sanatan's sores disappeared and his entire body resembled the color of gold. Deki Haridasa mane haila chamatkara prabhure kahena e bangije tomara. Seeing this change, Haridas Thakur, greatly astonished, told the Lord, this is your pastime. Shri Jari Kandera Panitu Mika Kauyaila Se Panilakshe Inhara Kandu Upjaila. My dear Lord, you made Sanatana Goswami drink the water of Jarikanda, and you actually generated the consequent itching sores on his body. Kandu kari pariksha karile sanatane e lila bangi tomara keha nahi jane. After thus causing these itching sores, you examined Sanatana Goswami. No one can understand your transcendental pastimes. Duhe alingiya prabhu ge la nijalai. Prabhu raguna kahe dunhe hanya prema mai. After embracing both Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to his residence. Then Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami, in great ecstatic love, began to describe the Lord's transcendental attributes. E mata sanatana rahe, E mata sanatana rahe prabhu stane, Krishna Chaitanya guna kata haridasa sane. In this way, Sanatana Goswami stayed under the care of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and discussed the transcendental qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Haridas Thakur. Tola Jatra Deki Prabhu Tare Vidaya Dila Vrindavane Jai Karibena Shabashakaila. After they saw the Dol Yatra festival, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami fully about what to do in Vrindavan and bade him farewell. Jai Kali Vidaya Haila Prabhura Charane Dui Janara Vicheda Dasha Najaya Varnane. The scene of separation that took place when Sanatana Goswami and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took leave of each other is so piteous that it cannot be described herein. Jai Vanapate Prabhu Gela Vrindavana, Se Pate Jaite Manakaila Sanatana. Sanatana Goswami decided to go to Vrindavan by the very forest path that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had traversed. Jai Pate Jai Gramanadi Shaila Jahan, Jai Lila Balabhadra Bhatta Stane Shabaklikhi Nila. Sanatana Goswami noted from Balabhadra Bhattacharya all the villages, rivers and hills where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had performed his pastimes. Oh, so he must have traveled with Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Oh, yeah, must be. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya, who traveled with Mahaprabhu, pointed out all these places of Mahaprabhu's pastimes on the way to Vrindavan with Sanatana Goswami. Mahaprabhura Bhaktagani Shabare Miliya, Se Pate Chali Jai, Se Stana Tekiya. Sanatana Goswami met all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then traveling by that same path, visited the places through which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had passed. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in a song, Sharanagati 31, Gora ama jai shabastane karala brahmana range, se shabastana heri ame, pranaya bhakti abhakatisane, sange. May I visit all the holy places associated with the Leelas of Lord Chaitanya and his devotees. A devotee should make a point of visiting all the places where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes. Indeed, pure devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even want to see the places he simply visited only for hours or minutes. Everything Mahaprabhu does has an infinite character. So what is measured by us in minutes is of a very wondrous thing in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. Jai Jai Lila Prabhupate, Kaila Jai Jai Stane, Tahade Ki Prema Vesha Haya Sanatane. As soon as Sanatana Goswami visited a place where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had performed his pastimes on the way, he was immediately filled with ecstatic love. E mate sanatana vrindavane aila, pache ashe rupa gosai, tahare milila. In this way, Sanatana Goswami reached Vrindavan. Later, Rupa Goswami came and met him. So the places of the pastimes of the Lord also have an eternal character. So when Sanatana Goswami would see any place on the way to Vrindavan, because he went by the same route that Mahaprabhu went, and whenever he would see any of the places where Mahaprabhu had any pastime, he was filled with ecstatic love. Not by thought, not in the mental world, but in the transcendental world. Because the pastimes of the Lord are always have an eternal character, and those places also have an eternal character, are part of that. So I read it. In this way, Sanatana Goswami reached Vrindavan. Later, Rupa Goswami came and met him. Akavatsara Rupa Gosanyera Gode Vilamba Haila Kutumbera Stiti Arta Vibhaga Karidila. Srila Rupa Goswami had been delayed in Bengal for a year because he was dividing his money among all his relatives to situate them in their proper positions. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were both exceedingly wealthy. They both had tremendous wealth. But they didn't just walk away from home. They showed the example of how one should divide one's wealth. And he gave half to the Vaishnavas and Brahmins, and then he divided a quarter of that to his family members, and a quarter he kept for emergencies, if I remember correctly. Although Srila Rupa Goswami renounced his family life, he nevertheless was not unjust to his family members. Even after renunciation, he returned to Bengal, where he properly divided whatever money he had and gave it to his relatives so that they will not be inconvenienced. Godeje artachila taha anahila kutumba brahmana devalaye bantidila. He collected whatever money he had accumulated in Bengal and divided it amongst his relatives, the Brahmins, and the temples. Shabamana kata gosai kari nirvahana nischinta hanya sigra aila vrindavana. Thus, after finishing all the tasks that he had on his mind, he returned to Vrindavan fully satisfied, done everything properly for the Lord. Dui bai mili Vrindavane basha kaila prabhura je agya duhe shava nirvahila. The brothers met at Vrindavan, where they stayed to execute the will of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale. This is where this verse is. I actually didn't know where it was.
Really? Is it from the Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Yeah, this is the verse, that verse we sing every morning. 217. And I must have memorized it a long time ago. I couldn't remember where it was, actually. So, Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Ahyam Dadati Swapadantika. When will Srila Rupa... Oh, no. That's also in the songbook, I believe. Sorry, I'm very tired this morning. My brain's not working. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within the material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were previously ministers, directly in charge of the government of Nawab Hussain Shah. And they were also householders, but later they became Goswamis. A Goswami, therefore, is one who executes the will of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The title Goswami is not an inherited designation. It is meant for a person who has controlled his sense gratification and dedicated his life to executing the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Srila Sanatana Goswami and Srila Rupa Goswami became genuine Goswamis after dedicating their lives to the service of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada very much emphasized this point, that a title has some value if the person holding the title actually carries that value in his own being. Otherwise, just to say Goswami does not mean that the person is a Goswami in his own self. So Srila Guru Maharaj says there's the guinea. What is it? The position is the guinea stamp. The position is the guinea stamp. But the gold is the man is the gold for that. So someone can be in a position, but that's just like a piece of paper that says it's worth so much money. But if there's no gold backing that money, then it has no value. So the man is the gold that's backing up the position. So anyone can say, I am a Goswami, my family are all Goswamis, or whatever. that may be, but the man is the one who is actually the value behind that. Who is the man? Is he really have that quality? Text 218. Nana Shastra Ani Lupta Tirtha Udarila Vrindavani Krishna Seva Prakasha Karila. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami collected many revealed scriptures, and from the evidence in those scriptures, they excavated all the lost sites of pilgrimage. Thus they established temples for the worship of Lord Krishna. And that's what we're singing in the morning. Echai Gosai Jabe Bhaje Koilabad, Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. They revealed all the places of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Sanatana Grantha Kaila Bhagavatamrite Bhakta Bhakti Krishna Tattva Jani Jaha Haite. Srila Sanatana Goswami compiled the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. From this book one can understand who is a devotee, what is the process of devotional service, and who is Krishna, the absolute truth. Quite astonishing. So this is Sambandha Gyan. Siddhanta Sharaganta Hakaila Dashamatipani Krishna Lila Rasa Prema Jaha Haite Jani. Srila Sanatana Goswami wrote a commentary on the 10th canto known as Dashamatipani, from which we can understand the transcendental pastimes and the ecstatic love of Lord Krishna. So this is another thing that was written by Srila Sanatana Goswami, called Dashamatipani, by which we can understand the transcendental pastimes and ecstatic love of Lord Krishna. Hari Bhakti Vilasa Grantha Kaila Vaishnava Acharya Vaishnavera Kartavya Jaha Paiye Apara. He also compiled the Hari Bhakti Vilas, from which we can understand the standard behavior of a devotee and the full extent of the Vaishnava's duty. So the Dashamatipani, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, the Hari Bhakti Vilas was originally compiled by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Later, Gopal Bhatta Goswami produced a shortened version of it and added the Digdarshani Tika. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there are so many quotations from the Sattvata scriptures that sometimes it is inquired how the atheistic smartas can refuse to accept them and instead imagine some other opinions. In other words, it is so authoritative. It is hard to believe that anyone could possibly read this book and have any doubts about the scriptural conclusions. But it still happens. What is recorded in the Hari Bhakti Vilas strictly follows the Vedic scriptures and is certainly pure, but the attitude of the karmis is also always one of giving up the conclusion of pure Vaishnava understanding, giving it up, because the karmis are very much attached to the world and material activities. They always try to establish atheistic principles that oppose the understanding of the Vaishnavas. Arjata Grantha Kailataha Kekare Kanana Madana Gopala Govindera Seva Prakashana. Srila Sanatana Goswami also compiled many other books. Who can enumerate them? The basic principle of all these books is to show how to love Madan Mohan, who are deities of Srila Sanatana Goswami, and Govindaji, who is the deity. I mean, these, Radha and Krishna, but they were specifically the deities of Rupa and Sanatana. The Bhakti Ratnakar refers to the following books by Srila Sanatana Goswami. 1. Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the Hari Bhakti Vilas and its commentary known as Digdarshini, the Lila Stava, and the commentary on the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam known as Vaishnavatoshini. Sanatana Goswami compiled many, many books, all with the aim of describing how to serve the principal deities of Vrindavan, Govinda, and Madan Gopal. Later, other deities were gradually established, and the importance of Vrindavan increased. When they went to Vrindavan, it wasn't manifest. There was the Kunds, but that no one knew what they were, but Mahaprabhu knew. And so they completely established and re-manifested the divine hidden pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Okay, so we can stop here. Tomorrow we'll read the list of the books that were written by Srila Rupa Goswami. Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj ki jai. Srila Om Vishnupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. I have to leave in 10 minutes today. So we'll just go through the Upadesamrita verses, and if there's any questions.
Okay.
Because
Today's Friday.
Little shorter class today. Huh?
Today's Friday.
Today's Friday? Yes. So who owes who?
Yeah.
I think that we tied on not fully memorizing. I've been working on it, but I haven't. Oh, you have memorized them. You have? Okay, let's go.
Let's find out.
Let's go. Good. I didn't finish mine. Vacho vegam manasakroda vegam jiva vegam udarapasta vegam etan veganyo vishaheta dira sarvam apimam pitivim sasisya. So this is about the 6 vegams, these 6 urges. What a terrible society exists where these urges are encouraged. It is very disastrous. Atyahara prayasascha prajapo niyamagraha janasangasaloyam cha Sabir Bhakti.
Vinyasati. You go very fast.
Okay, these are the 6 things which destroy devotion. Utsan Nishayadarya Tatat Karma Pravartana Sangatyaga Sadovite Sadbir Bhakti Prasidyati. These are the 6 which?
The 6 qualities
which?
that nourish.
Devotion. Very good. And then the 4th?
Dadati pratigarnati. Oh no, keep going with
No, I want to hear.
Okay. Dadati pratigarnati guhyam akyati prachati Pumte bojayate Chaiva Bidam
Sad. You good?
Bidam I got this, Didi, please don't help me.
Okay, sorry.
Bidam. Okay. Pumte bojayate. I'm gonna go again, alright?
Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted. Do you want the paper just to glance at? Or no, forget it.
Dadati pratigarnati guhyam akyati prichati Pumte bojate Jaiva Bidam Priti Lakshanam.
Very good. And it's Sadvidam. Sad means 6.
Sad
Okay?
Bidam.
Good, very good. Okay?
Sad Bidam, yes.
All right, then.
And the 5th one or the meaning of the 4th one?
This one is about what?
The 6, the types of characteristics of love.
All right then.
And then this one is an interesting.
And number 5.
Krishneti yasyas kiritan manasadriyeta da dixati chet pranativis cha bhajantam isam sushrusayat bhajan vigyamananyamanyam nindadi sunyam hirdam ipsita sangha labdyam.
Very good. You did really well. You've got keep working on them a little bit more, just because. And it's the problem for me too. Where's the words that stop end with like labdya and not labdyam? You know what I mean? Like those things. But okay. So Dishtai Swabhava Janite. I still have to glance at it. Dishtai Swabhava Janite Vapashascha Doshe Na Prakritatvam Iha Bhakta Janasya Pasyat Gangambasam Na Kalu Budbuddha Panka Na Budbuddha Pena Panker Brahmadravatvam Apagachiti Niradharmai. So I haven't got it memorized as well as you, so you win. Okay, so verse 5 is about?
Verse 5?
Yeah.
The different gradations of relationship with those who chant the names of the Lord,
Yeah.
who serve the Lord, and who are expert in devotion.
Right, very good. And then number 6 is about the comparison of the devotee to the Ganga, which externally may appear this, but that is not to be seen. It is never, his nature is, divine nature is never contaminated by anything. All right, then number 7. Sa Krishna nami charitari satapya vidya pito patapta rasanasya narochikanu kinvadarat anudinam kalu saiva justa swadvi karmad bhavati tad gadamula hantri. And that is about
The sweetness and bitterness of the holy name of the Lord.
well, it's always sweet, but our perception, due to our disease of ignorance, may be misperceiving the sweet name of the Lord as being bitter. Very good. Excellent. So we can read a little bit from Srila Guru Maharaj. About 10 minutes. So that's great. Awesome.
All right.
Haribo. So we both didn't, but you just go over it again and try to remember where the M's are and where they're not, and those little details, because it's hard because we don't know the language. So which words have ma on the end of it and all those things, those are more difficult to memorize, but you can do it. You can do it perfectly. That did really well. Jai. All right. Jai Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki Jai, Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Oh, I wanted to tell that story, and I've told it before, but Srila Gurudev, I heard today, because in the morning I always put on a YouTube video to listen to. And Srila Gurudev was talking about when he and Guru Maharaj went to the Chandrodaya Mandir. At the opening, they were invited by Guru, of course, by Srila Prabhupada. And they saw, so Prabhupada came down, he was waiting for Guru Maharaj to arrive, but it was time for his massage. So he came down to greet Guru Maharaj, and Gurudev had arrived, and he came down, but he was covered in oil, and he's just wearing a little gamsha and just some little thing on his shoulders, and very informal because of affection. There was no formality at all. He came generally, he's a worldwide acharya with thousands and thousands of disciples all over the world. And he comes down in this very simple way to greet his friends. And then he called for the GBC. The whole meeting of the GBC came. And he introduced Srila Guru Maharaj to, he wanted them, Guru Maharaj to give them his blessing. So he said, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. But Srila Gurudev was saying it was so impressive. They were like big Brahmas. These tall, tall Western sannyasis with their big dandas coming and boom, falling flat in front of Prabhupada, who was sitting there with just oil and wearing a gamsha. It was, he said, it's like big Brahmas. So many Brahmas came when Krishna called them. When he was in Vrindavan, and Krishna's just this little boy who herds cows, and they're all falling flat in front of him, and Krishna's not showing himself as the supreme Lord Narayan of Vaikuntha. He's just a little simple cowherd boy, So it reminded Gurudev of that. These big, big sannyasis from the West, and boom, falling down, and Prabhupada just sitting there in this very simple way. Anyway, it was very sweet. It was just this impression he's sharing with us, just a remembrance that came because of this circumstance. And then they said, one of them said, so Prabhupada, what should we do now, the ceremony for opening the temple? He said, what? Because Sridhar Maharaj is here, it's open. It's done. As soon as Sridhar Maharaj arrives, everything's been done. It's all been manifest, it's all perfect. And then later on, Srila Gurudev walked past and there was a big fire sacrifice happening. And they're very, very serious in doing this sacrifice, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to say the mantras. And Gurudev was saying, it's very sweet, they're so enthusiastic. They don't know anything. They don't know how to do it at all. And they, at one time, so swaha is the offering into the fire, like putting ghee, swaha, and so many things. So they said, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami, swaha, so they're offering the Guru into the fire. It's like, they don't know. But he said, it made my heart happy to see their enthusiasm, even though they're like children and they don't know, but they were very enthusiastic. So it was really a sweet thing. And then, of course, Srila Gurudev was called upon to speak, and he wasn't expecting to speak in front of so many hundreds of people. He wasn't expecting that at all, and he wasn't prepared. But he gave such a lovely talk at that time in the Chandradoy Mandir, and Prabhupada was very happy, and Gurudev was very happy, and Krishnadas Kaviraj was very happy. He kept, exclaiming from the audience. Or not the audience, he's sitting there, a dignitary person. Anyway, very sweet talk, super, super lovely. Oh, Krishna. Okay, we have a few minutes. Any question? Very important points in here to cover in a few minutes. But this next paragraph on page 156, everywhere this approach is to be applied. Suppose I'm running a business. When I approach a capitalist, I must not connect with them and then put trust in them very easily. I must satisfy myself that in this connection they will help me. And of course, not undiscerning in spiritual matters and so discerning in other matters. Most discerning in spiritual matters, looking for the perfect guru. I must satisfy myself that in this connection of my spiritual progress, they will help me. But after that, they have satisfied me on all points. And of course, he's giving the example of connecting with a capitalist, someone who can give money to start a business. First of all, I'm going to make sure that he can actually do this. I'm not just going to approach some guy in a bar and ask him if he can help me. But after they have satisfied me on all points, and I've connected with them, and we are engaging in giving and taking, then I should not suddenly disconnect with them because there may be a disturbance or loss in my business. So it's an analogy to help us to understand the position. Similarly, with the spiritual master, we shall try our utmost to study as much as possible by the help of the scriptures and other reliable sadhus. And with that, we shall have to select where we shall surrender our life, where we shall rely that one will be able to remove our difficulties wholesale. As much as possible, we should be serious about this. Connecting with Guru is the most serious connection in our spiritual eternal life. So before establishing that connection, we shall try to satisfy ourselves in all possible ways that we have come to the real party. And real person is what this means, the real group. It means here the Guru. The real party wherefrom we may get our highest benefit. Then with such clear and pure faith, we should try to establish the holy relationship with as much purity as if we are approaching the holiest Lord. Once having established that this is the person whom I am searching, then we give him so much honor, as though, as same approach as to the Lord himself. With that sort of sincerity and unprejudiced purity we should approach. We should also invoke the highest help of the Supreme Entity. Please help me in my choice of the Master of my life and life eternal. So it is a very serious thing, the most serious thing in our life. And what should be our dealing? We should try our best not to find fault there. Again, Dishtesha Baba. This is a very important verse we've been studying. Once we have accepted Guru, we must not be frivolous and play with this dignified relationship as though it's some small thing that I can, just come and go. We must be very serious and very careful to maintain that sort of holy relationship. As much as we can, we should try. We must not believe ourselves always to the fullest. In other words, when doubts come, because of our own, when doubts come, then we also have to examine any doubts to make sure that these are not caused by some illusion in ourselves. If we take ourselves too seriously, meaning, in other words, we have to deal with our mind according to the directions of Guru and very seriously see what is what, who is who, and what is my position, and what did I come for? Is that still there? Some of these talks were given to those who are losing faith in the young gurus of ISKCON. They say, not quickly should you should choose very carefully and not quickly leave, but just be very discerning and careful that you're not being frivolous, that you're not being whimsical, which is one of the 6 destroyers of devotion that we are reading in the Upadesamrita. But be very discerning, make sure it is not in my own fault, and consult with others. And like that, take the thing very seriously, and work very hard and diligently how to proceed in my spiritual progress carefully. Jai Sri Sri Upadesamrita ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. And I mean, these are very unhappy topics in that sense, that unhappy circumstance would ever come to a person. But Srila Guru Maharaj is giving advice under those particular circumstances. Unhappy circumstances, but he is giving very, very, very wonderful advice. Hari Shri Shri Guru Gaurachandra Ju ki jai, Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ju ki jai, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Madhacharya Javinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Sad Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Saparshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shamakund Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai, Jai Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, Tadiya Saka Mat ki jai, Chaitanya Saraswat Mission ki jai, Kol Kartal ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Srimati Tulsi Devi ki jai, Kol Kartal ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol,
Srimati Sri Lekha ki jai. Today with us is Madhusudan Maharaj, Sita Didi,
Oh, Dandavat, Dandavat.
Indumati Didi, Kumkum Didi.
Dandavat, Dandavat. Oh my goodness. Very happy association.
Bhima Krishna Prabhu is also with us. Dandavat devotees.
Dandavat Gurudev.
Dandavat Gurudev.
I'm sorry that I'm not giving anyway, I'm not up to par. But we're trying our best every day by the grace of the devotees and great association, so grateful. Dandavat.
Dandavat, Dandavat. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Madhusudana Maharaj sent two noses, like the emoji of two noses. And then
What is that? What is that?
two noses, and then Gurudev said, apologize. I thought those were praying hands. Dandavat, he says. Dandavat, Dandavat.
Haribol.